What's good, guys? It's your boy 50K Clay. I am Clay Will, and we're back again with yet another video, man. And today, listen, man, topic that's been on my mind heavily, this UFC situation, particularly with Rampage Jackson and his son. Now, listen, man, I'm pretty sure y'all all seen the video. Rampage Jackson's son, Raja Jackson, went into a wrestling event, like a amateur wrestling event, and he basically really got into it seriously with this wrestler, and he beat him viciously, and so much so that the wrestler had to be sent to the hospital and was on life support, and it was pretty bad. Now a lot of people I've been seeing have been leaving some really distasteful comments about the matter, and I just wanted to address the whole situation. Now, firstly, obviously Raja was in the wrong. He acted out of anger, basically out of anger, when it wasn't completely necessary to do so at all. We all know wrestling is kind of scripted, and they know what's about to take place. They know about exactly what's about to come at them. So for Raja to intervene like the way he did and actually put a wrestler into harm's way, into danger, by, like I said, brutally beating him, he was completely in the wrong, and it's no justifiable reason for him to do so. But I also want to peel back the curtain a little bit, maybe give a little bit more context about exactly what went on in the situation, and about generally the mental health element that plays a part and plays a role in this. Now, I don't really watch streams like that. I'm not all the way tapped in. I'm certainly not finna watch somebody's full stream. I don't know how y'all do that. But what's interesting to me is I've been seeing clips of Raja and his pops Rampage for a long time on TikTok. And a lot of it, when they're together, is basically Rampage kind of demeaning his son to a certain extent, kind of plainly, probably in his mind, joking around, making him toughen up. And this is a case we've seen a lot of times with men and their father, particularly black men. I think black men have to prepare their sons for a harsh reality, and that's coming with them. Black men have to prepare their son in a different way from other minorities or other races, in a way that the world kind of is a predator to them. So they have to feel their sons. So we have to fill our sons up with a kind of sense of strength and stuff like that to make them be able to exist in this world. And particularly in the case of Rampage Jackson, whose son was slash is an aspiring fighter, he also has to push him in a different way. He has to try to get him to understand the nature of the field that he's entering. So a lot of times we'll see clips on TikTok of Rampage kind of pestering and badgering and teasing and insulting his son. And for me, that was just a way of him kind of trying to toughen his boy up. He knows that he wants to be a fighter, so he's kind of, jokingly teasing him and pushing him to a certain extent. One thing about these streams is that it's very parasocial. People will start to develop a relationship with a person that they never even met. So I'm sure for Raja, he's seeing all these comments about how his father is kind of punking him and making him look soft. All these comments that's coming, millions, thousands of people are watching at a time. So he's seeing these comments. Man, Raja is weak. Raja is being pushed around. Why does Raja let his dad talk to him? I wouldn't do that, this, that, and the third, knowing damn well you soft in reality. But probably what I'm feeling is the case, and based on what the reaction Raja gave after the fight was over, after he was pulled off the guy and he was able to kind of decompress from that, get away from it a little bit, obviously he was still ramped up. He was still angry. And I think this anger comes from a sense of, first of all, his father teasing him, pushing him, belittling him, doing this, that, and the third. And I don't think Rampage Jackson has any ill intent when he does this, but rather just trying to toughen his son up. But that gets internalized into Raja. Then he gets these comments. I'm sure, I don't follow him on Instagram, but I'm sure these comments are insulting him and saying, "Man, Roger, you got pushed around on stream last night. Roger, this, that, and the third." So all these comments build up in his head. He's seeing this, he's reading this, and then he's internalizing that even more. So when the situation with the wrestler occurred, he basically broke a fake prop bottle over his head. He basically broke a fake prop bottle over his head. And that same kind of teasing that's prevalent in the comments, in the comment sections, in the TikTok live streams, in the and from his father, he said, I had enough. I'm not gonna be bullied anymore. Y'all not finna think I'm weak. And he expressed himself in this way, which is violence. We gotta think, bro. His pops was a fighter. I don't even know what his pops did, but I'm sure it might have been involved in some kind of fighting too. So Raja is a fighter himself. So his whole world is fighting and violence. And what kind of person does this kind of level of violence create? Well, we see a very angry and embittered person. You combine that reality, his fighting heritage, his violent background, combine that with all the suppressed emotions he's been feeling, and you get a recipe for disaster. You combine those two things, you get a recipe for disaster. And that's exactly what occurred. But for me, I personally have empathy for Raja, because even as a casual observer of these streams, I've been peeping what's going on. I've been peeping the teasing, and I can imagine what people say. So I feel like all of this just boiled over into a point that made him enraged. And when you're a fighter, that's why we see a lot of times boxers and UFC fighters, even Dana White, be involved in these domestic abuse scandals, because their whole life is centered around fighting and violence. So that's one of the primary, and as a kid, you've been patted on your back all your life, all the way into adulthood, until the point that you're at. You've been patted on your back. You've been cheered on for your violence. You've been encouraged for your violence. Be more violent, be more vicious, be more brutal. So naturally, these men that are fighters, this is the only way they know how to express themselves. What you think they gonna turn to poetry? You think they gonna vent their frustration in a poetry book? You think that's really what's gonna happen? No, it's gonna come out in violence. Their feelings are gonna come out in violence, and that's exactly what happened here. Like I said, it all boiled over into a point, and I feel like people are not giving that enough nuance. People are not giving that enough nuance. People are not giving that enough credit, and people never think about these things. I've been seeing the most rude and most vicious comments saying, "Black people, this is somehow a reflection of black people." So many racist and rude and belligerent comments, not taking into account. And I'm a casual observer. How do I think about this before y'all do? I think people immediately want to jump to racism to justify Roger's action. It's really just a boy that's been brought up in a violent environment. This is one of the only ways he knows how to express himself. This is what his father did. This is probably what his father's father did. And it's a sad case. I mean, obviously he's in the wrong for expressing himself in this manner, but I don't think people are giving enough nuance to the fact that this context that I'm giving. And like I said, I'm a casual observer, so I'm not tapped into every stream. I just so happen to see the clips. And I see the clips of Roger being bullied by his father, being picked on and being teased and this, that, and the third. And like I said, I'm sure Rampage Jackson is a loving father, but this is just what I'm peeping. And this is just what I'm observing. And not enough people are giving credit to that fact. So I think it's so totally disingenuous for these people to use their platforms and being like, Roger is a bad kid. He's a horrible person. I hope he dies. I hope he goes to jail. I wish the worst for Roger. Man, I wish therapy for Roger. I wish a loving relationship with his father. I know there are consequences for his actions, and I know there has to be, but I hope that he gets in some form of counseling so he can sort through these anger issues and come out a better person. And I think it's totally, totally unfair. And it gets me even frustrated thinking about how rude people are, how mean people are. And these are the type of comments and stuff that provoked Raja to get to the point that he did. And it's just a cyclical cycle. And hopefully we can all look ourselves in the mirror and be like, if I was in this position, maybe I would be easily pushed too. Maybe it wouldn't take much for me to be angry either. So I hope that we can all have, and I hope the wrestler gets better, and I hope he heals up, and I hope that we can all do a little bit of self-reflection on who we are, so we can grow and be better and more understanding so we can grow and be better and be more understanding as a society as a whole. So yeah, man, that's my thoughts on that. Let me know if y'all would love to see. Let me know if y'all would like to see any more of these kind of discussion videos with me. I promise I got y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching. I really appreciate the viewership. And like I said, we're almost at 1,000 subscribers. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe when you see this video. And like I said, Raja, I'm wishing the best for you. I understand that there is consequences for certain actions, but like I said, I hope that we can all be more empathetic to one another. Thank y'all so much for watching. This has been VTK Clay at I am Clay Will on Instagram. We out.